Well, hello there, all my fellow Nerd Knights friends, followers, and just people watching it. Welcome to episode 13 of our Hero Quest painting series, where we're painting the Mummy. And we're about to wrap up this series here in a little bit. We got some more stuff to do, but we're getting there. First off, I want to thank all my YouTube members. Thank you so much for your contributions and your support. And you guys get first pick of what's going to be painted next. The game's coming up that you want to see. If it's your first time at the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button. We've got a lot of painting to do over the next several years. This is pretty easy, so stick with it. But without further ado, let's go. Obviously, the first thing we're going to be doing is scraping off all of those nasty mold lines on our miniature, because there are quite a few. After you're, okay with how many mold lines you get off, we're going to take some black primer. I'm using my airbrush, but if you have spray paint, use that. Hitting that with all black, and then we're going to be using some white from above to create that zenithal highlighting. You're going to see how this makes a huge difference by the end of the video, as long as you're correctly thinning your paints. The first color we're going to be using is Karak Stone Citadel paints. Now, I typically utilize only Citadel paints, but for this specific miniature, we're going to use some model color from Vallejo on the skin, because I think it best fits the color and the card art of the Mummy provided by Hasbro. So we're going to hit that all over. Now, if you get some on the skin areas, that is not a big deal at all. We are slopping this thing all over. Make sure you are thinning your paints. You want to make sure it's like a skim milk consistency, and we're doing about 2 thin layers of this paint, and that's what I do for most of my miniatures. For our skin color, we're going to be using some dark sea blue. Now, since we created that zenithal highlighting, you're going to see the white undertone come through, and that's what we want. It's going to create that natural highlight. So when we're doing our highlight step, it just cuts down time just a little bit and creates those nasty, or nice, not nasty, but it is a nasty mummy, I guess you could say, highlights. So we're going to be getting all the skin areas, obviously, so just follow along with what I am painting. For our teeth and nails, we'll be utilizing some Screaming Skull. Now, we just want to go very lightly over these areas. Don't overdo it, and don't try and jam your brush down your mummy's throat. And for the eye, we're just putting a dab of white in that eye socket before we do step 3. For our wash, we're only going to be using one wash. That is Agrax Earthshade. Put that all over our miniature. Don't be conservative with it. Just put it all over. Nice big old thing. And while you're letting this dry, head over to our Instagram, nerd.knights, and stay up to date. We're going to be doing a contest that I should be posting tomorrow, so stay tuned. Once we are completely dry, we're going to be going on to the highlight phase, and we're going to be going back over with our original base color, which is Karak Stone. Now, make sure your paints are thin. You want a skim milk consistency. I'm using a wet palette because it makes it a lot easier, and you can save your paints if you have to stop and come back another day. You can just reapply apply some water to it and basically rehydrate it. Now, we're not going over every single bandage, but we are going over a vast majority of them. And we're going to put our focal point on the middle of those bandages. And we're going to create that nice light point with our highlights, as you're going to see zoned on those middle areas. Do not get into the recesses of this miniature. Just hit those top bandages and take your time. Nice, easy strokes on these bandages. For our second step of highlights, we're going to take some Screaming Skull and Karak Stone, a 50-50 mix, and we're going to be, again, hitting the middle portion of those bandages leading up to our main highlight and last highlight that is coming up here in a second. And we are just getting those middle bandages. And we want to do a less surface area at this point. We don't want to make this thing as bright as possible. We just want to create points of brightness that catches the eye and really makes it look nice. I guess you could say the bandages are the focal point of this miniature, and that's what we're really going to focus on. And for the last step of our bandages, we're going to take some pure Screaming Skull, thinned of course, and we're going to focus those really on the middle of our thighs, a little bit on the head, and a little bit on the shoulders, and some on the chest. Same with the back area. We're not overdoing this step. We're just creating that nice bright point that's going to catch the person's eye, and that's all we're doing. You do not want to overdo this, and I can't stress this enough, take your time when you're doing this. Don't try and just slop it on. Really slow, methodical. Pick the points that you want to do and stick with that. We're just kind of going for that look that if the sun was catching the mummy at a certain angle, that's what you would see on those bright points. With the bandages done, we're going to do a 2-to-1, 2 Dark Sea Blue and 1 Screaming Skull. And we're going to highlight that skin, and that's all we're going to do for that skin. We want to make it look dead and old and like it's been rotting and decaying for thousands of years. For our eyeball, our teeth, and our toenails and fingernails, we're just going to reapply some white just a little bit. You don't want to overdo this. Very, very little, just to make it pop out just a tiny bit. And for our tongue, we're going to use some Screamer Pink inside of the mouth. And for inside of the tongue, just a quick little hit of Emperor's Children. And finally, your favorite part of painting this miniature, the base with some Abaddon Black, because that means we're done. That was super easy, and I bet you're as happy as I am with the quality of the miniature you had just done. It didn't take a lot, but we took our time, and it looks fantastic. I know you're happy with it because I'm happy with it. I just want to say thank you for everybody who watches this channel, who supports this channel, who sends me messages on Instagram, shows me what they're painting. That's what motivates me and keeps me going. I can't thank you guys enough. If you are not a YouTube member but you would like to, you can send me a message on Instagram, or you can just sign up because that does help support the channel. Or just hit that subscribe button too and watch the videos. That's all I can ask for. But without further ado, I'll see you on the next one. Paint on.